secondary meaning and someone can misinterpret it. Bani Israel, in the first juz, Allah mentions a story of Banu Israel where they were entering the village of Ariha. Does anyone know where Ariha is?
Egypt.
Palestine. What is it called in English? Ariha. What is Ariha in English? Who said Quds over there? Someone said Palestine to my left. Yes, what is the city called in English? That's the Arabic. Jericho. In English it's called Jericho. It's a 10,000-year-old city. I've been there. I went to the Jericho. It's in Palestine. And subhanAllah, one of the most hospitable people I met. I was driving and I was looking for the area where the palace of Hisham used to be. Hisham bin Abdul Malik bin Marwan, he has a palace there, a demolished palace from his days. Over 1,200, 1,300 years old palace there. So I wanted to go see that palace and I got lost. So I asked, and the GPS wasn't working, so there was a person on the streets that were just walking. We said, can you give us direction to where this area is? And he said, Roh dugri dugri. Those who know the Palestinian Arabic, they know they use the word dugri dugri. To mean to go straight. So go straight and on your right, over there you're going to find it. I said, okay, fine. They said, did you have dinner? I said, no, actually we weren't looking for the palace, we were looking for a restaurant to have dinner. That's what it was. The palace was someone else. We were looking for a restaurant to have dinner. So we said, can you show us the restaurant? He said, okay, the restaurant is down this way, to the left, to the right, okay, over there. He said, you didn't have dinner? I said, no. He said, come to our house, we'll give you dinner. And I said, I met you on the street. I'm scared. I don't know who these people are. They're on the street, they're telling us. I said, khalas, I said, what's the worst that's going to happen? I said, don't worry, inshallah, bismillah, find my iPhone app. And then we went with them over there. When we entered there, wallahi, these people, poor people, they had nothing. But they took their entire fridge out for us. Olives, hummus, olive oil, whatever they had, ma hadar hudur. The hearts are big. The wallets don't have to be big. Today I was telling someone in the morning, our wallets don't have to be big, our hearts have to be big. Because today Allah's blessed us so much, but our hearts are small. Our fridges are filled. Our wallets are filled, but we are scared to bring even something over $5 to the masjid. Why is it? Oh, you know what? It'll cost me $30. We start calculating. Okay, if I sponsor one iftar dish, it'll cost me $35. Okay, how many people can I? We start doing all the calculations. We invite someone to our home, we start doing grocery calculation. No. إِنَّمَا نُطْعِمُكُمْ لِوَجْهِ اللَّهِ لَا نُرِيدُ مِنْكُمْ جَزَاءً وَلَا شُكُورًا. We feed you for the sake of Allah. We don't want anything in return. We don't even want to thank you in return. This is the quality of the mu'mineen. The mu'mineen, when it comes to feeding, you cannot feed anyone. A person brings his own risk. The Prophet of Allah ﷺ said that a guest brings his own risk. And I want you to think about this. On a normal daily basis, what do you eat at home? Dal, chawal, normal food. When a guest comes, then what happens? Biryani, kebabs, kapsa, this, and all these numerous dishes come. Otherwise, the same stingy dal biryani, dal chawal that's been going on for the past 3 days is fed to you. Warmed up and fed to you for 3 days, you're getting the same old food. But when a guest comes, mashallah, new and fresh food, this is sign that the guest is bringing his own risk. One of my friends told me, he said, come over to my house, come over to my house. And I used to always, I was busy, so he said, please, I'm begging you, come over to my house, my wife will cook something new for us. So the first one is, so then Allah ordered Banu Israel, He said, enter the city of Ariha, and when you enter the city, say the word hitta, hitta. قُلْ حِطَّةٌ نَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ خَطَايَاكُمْ وَسَنَزِيدُ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Allah says, use the word hitta. Hitta means reduce. Ya Allah, reduce our sins, reduce our sins. And Allah said, enter the city, Ariha, doing sajda. So Banu Israel, they switched the word, they changed the word, they altered the word. Instead of saying hitta, they started saying hinta, hinta, hinta. Hinta means give us food, give us food, give us food. So Musa alayhi said, what are you saying? Oh, hitta, 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 hinta, 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 hinta. They were making fun of the words that Allah had commanded them to say. And the second thing they did was, instead of doing sajda and entering the city, they entered the city backwards. Doing sajda backwards. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I sent adab to that nation. And I sent adab on those group of people. فَبَدَّلَ الَّذِينَ. They changed the words that I had commanded them to say. From this ayah we learn numerous lessons. The first lesson is respect. Okay? When you deal and you talk to someone, whether it's your parents or your elders or anyone, you speak to them with respect. The second lesson you learn from this ayah is what? The correct pronunciation. How many of us recite the Quran correctly? How many of us, mashallah, majority of the people that are sitting in front of me are from immigrant backgrounds. America is not their actual country. But all of you are listening to me speak in a language that was not your initial language. You all learned this language. And mashallah, if I speak to you, I cannot tell the difference between you and Christopher or Michael or any other individual. I can't tell the difference because you've perfected the dialect and you've perfected the style and you've perfected the grammar. But my dear brothers and sisters, what has happened to us when we read the Quran, the huruf are the same as our language back at home. The letters are the same. The style is the same. It begins from the right, ends in the left. The numbers are the same. Many words are the same. But what happens to us when we try to recite this kitab of Allah? We can't recite it. What has happened to us? Why have we failed the kitab of Allah? I have students and brothers who are from Arab backgrounds. But when it comes to reciting the Quran, they cannot recite the Quran. What will we say to Allah on the Day of Judgment? Allah will say, I gave you such an intellect and I gave you such intelligence that you were able to learn a language that was completely different than your language. You learned it for the dunya, but for my akhirah, did you learn how to recite the Quran properly? Allama Jazri rahimahullah says, وَالْأَخْذُ بِالتَّجْوِيدِ حَتَمٌ لَازِمُ وَالْأَخْذُ بِالتَّجْوِيدِ حَتَمٌ لَازِمُ وَمَنْ لَمْ يُجَوِّدِ الْقُرْآنَ آثِمُ. To recite the Quran with proper tajweed is a fard upon people. It's not a sunnah, it's not a mustahab, it's fard. To recite the Quran كَمَا أُنزِلَ عَلَى النَّبِي صلى الله عليه وسلم, the way it was revealed upon the great messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم, Sayyidul Kawnayn, the same way it is fard and wajib for us to learn to recite. Now, one of two things can happen when you recite the Quran. Number one, you recite it proficiently without making any mistakes. The Prophet ﷺ said that person who recites the Quran without making any mistakes, مَعَ كِرَامِ الْبَرَرَةِ, that person will be raised and he will be with the highest of angels on the Day of Judgment. The second category of people, now some people are old, some people, they've never had the chance of learning the Quran, the tongue has become solid, the tongue has become, it's like wax when it sets. When wax is in its fresh state, when it's being warmed in the beginning, you can mold it in any shape you want. But when you let it dry, after time goes by, its place gets held. And that's it, that's the place it's going to have. A tree, as it's growing in its initial years, you can mold the tree, you can change it. But once the tree has taken its root and a couple of decades have gone by, now that tree can't be changed. And same is like people, that when they speak in the beginning, yes, you can teach them to voice it differently and to pronounce it differently. But as age progresses, then your tongue settles and you can't pronounce it. But the Prophet of Allah ﷺ has not left you as well. He's given you ajr as well. He has said, الَّذِي يَتَتَأْتَأُ بِالْقُرْآنِ, the one who doesn't recite the Quran properly, he struggles. He says, الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, the Prophet ﷺ said, فَلَهُ أَجْرَانِ. It takes you slow time to recite, right? The person who recites faster, one of the brothers was telling me before that my father, mashallah, recites Quran fast. He recites a juz in 20 minutes. Now the one who's sitting next to him, he's struggling. And he's seeing that this man finishes in 20 minutes. I finish in 40 minutes. Look how hard it is for me. He's getting more ajr. Allah says, don't worry. It takes you 40 minutes. I'll give you double the ajr. Because you tried. He may finish in 20 minutes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that I'll give you double the ajr. Why? It's because you are trying and you're reciting the Quran. But in order to unlock the double ajr, the double reward, you have to make an effort. You have to struggle, you have to try to learn. MashaAllah, your masjid is one of the few masajid in Houston that are blessed with so many hafaz. So many Quran classes. When I see those benches there, I already know that's a sign of a Quran class. This type of bench is a sign there's a Quran class happening somewhere here. If you don't learn it and you don't perfect your recitation, on the Day of Judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will hold us accountable for this. Okay? So the first thing we learn from this ayah is respect. The second thing we learn from this ayah is correct pronunciation. This is the first Ya ayyuhal ladina amanu in the Quran. It is in Surah Baqarah, verse number 104. The second Ya ayyuhal ladina amanu in the Quran is Surah Baqarah, verse number 153. Surah Baqarah, verse number 153. There's a total of 90 of them. This is Surah Baqarah, verse number 153. First, Allah talks about respect. Because respect is the foundation. If you don't have respect, you have nothing. How many times in your life have you met a scholar or an imam, mashallah, beautiful recitation, mashallah, a lot of knowledge, but they didn't have good akhlaq? And all of a sudden your heart gets turned away. Having knowledge isn't everything. Having akhlaq is everything. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that person who leaves joking, who leaves lying, even if it isn't joking, أضمن له الجنة في أضمن له البيت في ربض الجنة. The person who leaves joking, the one who leaves lying, even in joking, I promise him a house in the outskirts of Jannah, in the boundaries of Jannah, in the suburbs of Jannah. I promise him a house in the suburbs of Jannah. Subhanallah. Then he says that person who leaves an argument, even if he is correct, أضمن له البيت في وسط الجنة. The Prophet of Allah ﷺ said, if there is an argument, someone made a mistake, you are not wrong, but you go up and you say, you know what, I'm sorry, my mistake. You accept the blame. The Prophet of Allah says, I will give you such real estate. That real estate is in the center of Jannah, in the downtown of Jannah. Subhanallah. How many of us, we ruin relationships? Don't talk to our brothers, don't talk to our friends, don't talk to our family members. Why? Because he has to apologize to me. They did this to me, they have to apologize. Over this apology? We focus so much on the point. The person is more important than the point. We focus so much on the point, but the person is more important than the point. What is the point without the person? If you're trying to prove a point, but you lose the person in between, what was the point if you don't have the person anymore? So learn to say sorry. Then the Prophet ﷺ said, the one who has good character, good akhlaq, أضمن له البيت في أعلى الجنة. I promise him a house in the highest level of Jannah. Just good akhlaq, that's it. All you have to be, Muhammad rahmatullahi alayhi used to tell people who used to come to study by him, that I'm not making you an alim, I'm not making you a sheikh, I'm not making you a scholar, all I'm doing is making you an insan. Today we need insano ki kami hai. Today we don't have people who are humans, in the sense that they don't have the akhlaq and the etiquettes and the manners. You look at our masajid, subhanallah, we pray salah in sufuf together, and then we step outside and we see the state of the parking lot. What has happened is this the same ummah that can stand within seconds without being told where to stand, how to stand. Within seconds their feet are aligned together, their shoulders are aligned together. But what happens to the ummah when we step outside the masjid? This isn't just information that we need. This knowledge is not just information, but it has to bring a transformation into us. This cannot just remain as information, it has to bring a transformation. We have to turn our rituals into something that is spiritual. We have to bring our rituals into something that is spiritual. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the next, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu. He says, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu ista'inu bis sabri was salah. Inna Allaha ma'as sabirin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, number one, O you who believe, seek help. Ista'in means to seek help. Where else have you read the word ista'in? Surah Fatiha. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Right? Help. So the first thing you need is respect. After respect, every human being needs help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We all need something from Allah. So Allah is teaching you how to get help from Allah. He tells you, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu. O you who believe, you are different. You are not like everybody else on the street. You are different. Ista'inu. When you need something, when you are lost, when you have an emergency, when you need help with something, what do? We first pull out our phone and we go to google.com. Allah says, no. Don't go first to google.com. Ista'inu, if you need my help, bis sabari. First of all, have patience. Take a step back, take a breath back, and have patience. And then pray 2 rak'at. Wassalam. This is the solution to all of your problems. Ista'inu bis sabri wassalam. Have patience and pray 2 rak'at. How many of us go through a problem and our solution is 2 rak'at? Subhanallah. One time the Prophet ﷺ was walking and there was this woman who had lost her child. Her child passed away. So this is broken, yes. She was crying and she was very sad and she was upset. The Prophet of Allah came to her and he said, take it easy, have patience. She didn't know it was the Prophet behind her. Because when you're depressed and you lose a loved one, you're not in your senses. May Allah protect us all from losing our loved ones and give our loved ones a long and healthy life. So when the Prophet of Allah ﷺ told her that have patience, she said, you know what? Go worry about yourself. You don't know what I've been through. Mind your own business. Subhanallah. Now she's Prophet of Allah ﷺ was a very simple person. He didn't say, oh, you told me to mind my own business on the day of judgment when you need shafa'at, then tell me mind my own business at that time. Oh, this is what you're saying to me. You know who I am? I'm the Nabi of Allah. Watch me raise my hands and do la'nat for you. Oh, you want to know what the hidayah is? Okay, I'm not going to teach you anymore. You disrespected me. Subhanallah. This was the most honorable person. This was the one that Allah honors. This is the person that Allah respects. And he's being disrespected. What does he do? Quietly leaves. This teaches us, when the situation escalates and fights and arguments start happening, quietly leave. Don't focus on your ego. They said this to me, they have to come and apologize. No. Relationships are destroyed over apologies. And relationships are saved due to apologies. If you are the one perpetrating the wrong, make sure you say make sure you apologize. And if someone has wronged you, don't wait for an apology. Forgive from before. A Sahabi hurt the feelings of another Sahabi. So in the morning he came to him. He said, please forgive me. I have offended you. I've hurt your feelings. And he said, when you hurt my feelings, I forgave you immediately. Because I couldn't stand being on the day of judgment. And the Prophet of Allah is standing there and saying, Ummati, Ummati, my ummah, enter Jannah, enter Jannah. And Allah grabs one of the ummatis of the Prophet. And Allah says, Ya Muhammad, this one can enter Jannah. And the Prophet of Allah will ask, Ya Allah, why can't he enter Jannah? My heart breaks for my ummah. My heart shatters for my ummah. Tears flow for my ummah. Ya Allah, I'm standing here at the gates of Jannah for my ummah. Why can't he go to Jannah? And it will be said, Ya Muhammad, this man has hurt the feelings of another man, and he will not be allowed into Jannah until these both don't reconcile. And he said, I could not bear breaking the heart of my Nabi on the day of judgment. But you and I, what do we say? I wish Jahannam for you. I wish you burn in hell. Subhanallah. This wasn't the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this woman, her heart breaks, and then now after that someone tells her that, do you know who you just told to mind their own business? She said, who? So that was the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Embarrassed, she runs to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and she says, I'm so sorry, Ya Rasulullah. I was in depression. I didn't know what came over me. I lost control. And the Prophet of Allah said, إِنَّمَا الصَّبْرُ عِنْدَ صَدَمَةِ الْأُولَى. True patience is when the calamity first hits you. If you lose your personality and lose your caliber and lose your akhlaq and you start yelling and screaming, and then after that say, okay, I'll have patience. No. Patience is when the calamity first affects you. When someone disrespects you, when you're at the restaurant and you don't get your service, and the waiter delays 20 minutes, 30 minutes, then you see the akhlaq of the mu'mineen. Then you see the akhlaq of the people of the first world country when their meal is 10 minutes late. Go to the restaurant and you'll see. Ask the waiters and the waitresses. When they're Muslim restaurants, and there are non-Muslims waiters and waitresses, ask them, what do you think about the mu'mineen? These are the people who are fueling us with halal. We should be the best akhlaq when we get to the restaurant. But subhanallah, halal food will be before us and we'll have the worst of akhlaq. I was in St. Louis and I asked one lady the restaurant was the only halal restaurant in front of the masjid. So I said, a lot of Muslims come here. I'm here for a conference for the weekend. Tell me something you see in the Muslims that is lacking. And what I will do is in my lectures and speeches, I will touch on these topics. And she was a lady, a very sad story. She worked 2 jobs, 14 hours a day, 15 hours a day she worked to provide for her daughter. And she said, when other people come to this restaurant, they tip. You Muslims don't tip. Shattered my heart. We are the people of that ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he gave to everyone, the needy and the not needy. But what do we say? We want to find excuses. Oh no, these tips are all collected and the manager takes them. That's not your responsibility. Your job is to do the karam and leave it. And it is Allah's job to bring it into their pocket. It is Allah's job to benefit them. So anyway, going back, the second Ya ayyuhal ladina amanu is Ya ayyuhal ladina amanu ista'inu bis sabri was salah. That when you have patience, when you want the help of Allah, the first ingredient is patience. Stop. Control yourself. Don't run to your cell phones. Take a minute, pray 2 rakat. You lose the exit. Don't get upset. Have patience. The month of Ramadan is to teach us patience. Learn this thing. In the whole month of Ramadan, have a notebook and write in there. Every time I lost my patience. If you lose your patience, come to this masjid and donate $100. Inshallah, I guarantee you, by the end of Ramadan, you will be the most patient person in your family. And this masjid will not need to do another fundraiser. All you have to do, you lose your patience, write it down. I lost my patience for this reason. I will donate $100 to the masjid. They say in Urdu, chamri jai, dhamri na jai. That I'll lose everything, but I won't lose my money. When you hurt someone where their money is, then you see their akhlaq and everything get better. Why do we drive in the speed limit? Because we know we'll get a ticket. Why don't we park anywhere we want outside? In the masjid we do it because we know we won't get towed. We know we won't get a ticket because there are brothers in Islam. Our brothers in Islam, we show them our akhlaq too. But outside on the street, you'll never park like this. You go to a restaurant, if there's no parking available, you won't double park. You know you'll get towed because money is involved. The masjid, no, we know the masjid is not going to tow us. Let the first masjid tow. And then you'll see us come back to the masjid and say, brother, how can you tow me? I will not forgive you on the day of judgment. And we know all of our stories in the community after that. That is the second Ya ayyuhal ladina amanu. The first one taught you respect. The second one taught you how to get the help of Allah. Now the third one. Right? First thing is, if you have respect for Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then the help of Allah can come to you. But if you don't have respect for Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the help of Allah can't come to you. Okay? Now how do you get the help of Allah? You have patience and you pray salah. Now salah is also what? Dua. Am I right or wrong? Now, how many of us do dua and then we realize our duas are not getting accepted? You say, I've been doing dua for such a long time, my duas don't get accepted. The next Ya ayyuhal ladina amanu is the answer for that. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, there are certain people, they come and they are in need. They're the most needy of people. Their hair is disheveled, they're dirty, their clothes are tattered, they're skinny, they're thin, their fingers are all they have marks on them, and they look like they're in the most tattered of shape. That if any one of you and I saw them, we would feel merciful towards them. Sometimes you drive down the street and at the traffic light, you see someone in a very hard position. And automatically your heart feels. And even though usually you give 5 cents to them, today you'll give 25 cents to them. Because you want to feel generous today. Hajjaj bin Yusuf, when he was dying, his mother told him, she said, you've done this wrong and you made this mistake and you've hurt this person. On the day of judgment, Allah is going to hold you so accountable for all of these things. So Hajjaj says, my mother, on the day of judgment, if Allah made you the judge above me, and you know everything I've done, and you know how many times I've hurt your feelings, how would you decide in my favor? Mother said, you are my child. At the end of the day, you may be the khabith of the house, but you are still my khabith. On the day of judgment, if Allah tells me to decide your fate, I will obviously decide it for Jannah. So Hajjaj says, my mother, my Allah loves me and is more merciful 70 times more than you. So I'm going to that Allah. So Hasan Basri rahimahullah heard this. He said, maybe Allah will forgive this khabith because of this sentence. He used the word khabith. He said, maybe Allah will forgive him because of his hope and the rahmah and the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that there are certain people that anyone, when you see them, your heart melts and you feel like being kind to them. But the Prophet of Allah says when this person does dua, Allah doesn't accept their dua. They look like a person that Allah should have rahmah on them, mercy on them, but they don't collect the mercy of Allah. Then the Prophet gives the reason. He says, مَطْعَمُهُ حَرَامٌ وَمَشْرَبُهُ حَرَامٌ وَمَلْبَسَهُ حَرَامٌ. This man's food is haram. This man's drink is haram. This man's clothes are haram. How can he ask Allah to help him when a person is fueled with haram for 40 days, their du'as don't get accepted? Today we don't care anymore. We don't go and investigate anymore. So the place is halal, we say, okay, we'll go eat anywhere. This is your responsibility. Yes, you will not get sin for it. Don't get me wrong. If a Muslim tells you that the place is halal, if he tells you the restaurant is halal, and you go and you eat there, Fatwa wise, you will not get sin. But taqwa wise, if that food turns out not to be halal, then you will be losing the barakat. And in the Muslim community, someone who's involved in the halal associations, and I've seen this firsthand, may Allah forgive us, the Muslims are the biggest people who mixed and served haram food. Just right now there was an article from New Jersey, 10 or 15 very well-known restaurants. So whenever there's a sponsorship for a masjid or need, always there. Turns out that non-Muslims went. New Jersey has a halal law, which means that if you are serving halal, you have to show what kind of halal is it. Is it hand slaughter or is it machine slaughter? How is it? It's a New Jersey's law. There are a few states that have this law. And if you don't do it, you can get fined and sued for this. I think up to $20,000. Up to $20,000 you can get sued for it. So these people, non-Muslims, they went and investigated this. And they find out the very famous restaurants of New Jersey, where everyone goes there for iftar. They've been serving haram for the last how many years? Subhanallah. There was a person when we were studying in South Africa. Do you know what a Dar al-Ulum is? Does anyone know what a Dar al-Ulum is? It's a place where people learn Quran and become alims and muftis. It's the place in the world where people learn the hadith of Rasulullah and the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Are they going to eat halal or not? They eat halal. So the one person used to provide meat for them, halal meat for them for 7 years. 7 years consecutively he was providing them haram meat. Why? It's because it's cheaper. Subhanallah. What effect is going to happen? Yes, you may not get the sin of it. You won't get the sin. Fatwa wise, you don't get the sin. But taqwa wise, if you're putting bad oil inside your car, what's going to happen? If you drive a German car and you put regular gas, what happens? The engine light goes on. This body needs premium gas. It needs halal gas. It needs tayyib from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when you have tayyib in your body, then when you do dua, your dua automatically materializes. When you tell your children to obey, your children will listen. Because they have pure fuel in them. Premium fuel in them. But when that child's engine is not good and he's getting all this, mashallah, McDonald's and Wendy's from all over, then what's going to happen to his engine inside? Then you're going to tell him, okay, be home by 10 o'clock. He said, okay, I won't be home before 12 o'clock. And our children are corrupt. Why? It's because the halal rizq is not there. So the third, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu is, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, kulu min tayyibati ma razaqnakum, washkuru lillahi in kuntum iyyahu ta'budun. Allah says, O you who believe, eat from the pure things, min tayyibati ma razaqnakum, from the pure things that I have granted you. Washkuru lillahi, and thank Allah. Today we come to the masjid, we eat the food, and then we say, the food wasn't that great today. You know, the masjid's iftari. What's iftari is going to happen? I went to that restaurant, the service wasn't that great. The biryani was... The first thing we do is we take out faults in the food. We have these blogs, these Yelp comments, and we go and mashallah, we're doing a service to the community. Then we are saying which restaurant is good, which restaurant is not good. ما عاب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم طعاما قط إن اشتهاه أكله وإلا تركه. The Prophet of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم in his life never ever pulled out fault from food. If he liked it, he ate it. If he didn't, he remained silent. Subhanallah. How far are we from the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Alhamdulillah, we did 3 Ya ayyuhal ladina amanus today. Inshallah, from next week we will do the remaining couple of Ya ayyuhal ladina amanu. I guess I won't be able to cover all 90. I'll just use selective Ya ayyuhal ladina amanus in the Quran. I was trying to go in order and show you the connection between all the Ya ayyuhal ladina amanus. But inshallah, some other time. If there's any questions, you can ask right now. Inshallah. Ji brother. Wa alaikum wa rahmatullah. The first ayah is Ya ayyuhal ladina amanu la taqulu ra'ina wa qulu ndunna wasma'u lil kafirin adhabun alim. O you who believe, don't say ra'ina. Don't say ra'ina, but say look towards us and listen to us, Muhammad. Don't say be attentive towards us. This is an Arabic linguistic discussion. And for the disbelievers, there is a difficult punishment. The second ayah is Ya ayyuhal ladina amanu sta'inu bis sabri wa salah wa innaha lakabiratun illa 'alal khashi'in. Allah says, O you who believe, if you want the help of Allah, have patience and pray salah. This is very difficult to do, besides for those people who are humble in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the third one is, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kulu min tayyibati ma razaqnakum washkuru lillah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, O you who believe, eat from the pure things that Allah has blessed you with, and be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the rizq that Allah has granted you. Subhanallah, yes.
Would you be telling us in the sequence in which it was revealed to the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, or the sequence of the Holy Quran?
This is in the sequence of the Holy Quran. But I wanted to cover all 90. I thought today I'd be able to cover 30 of them. I covered 3 of them. So inshallah, we make niyyah for something and something else materializes. But I did come with the intention of 30. Wallahi, that's my intention, 30. And I thought maybe if I reach out, maybe reach to 15. But 3, okay, khalas, 3.
Somebody asked him, have you every day? I'm not sure. Every day or?
Kullu yawm as-sabt, every Saturday.
Every day.
Allah, every Saturday after Asr, inshallah.
It was every day.
Allah barik fi, inshallah. May Allah reward you for your husn al-dhan, inshallah. So I will be going through the tartib of the Quran, but now I will do selective of them. Inshallah, for the next 2 weeks, I'll do selective of them, so you'll get a chance of the most important ones for your daily life and for your iman and your Islam. Inshallah. Subhanallah, bihamdi, subhanallah. Assalamu